The Social Security Administration just admitted on the record that they owe American retirees over $17 billion in back pay. $17 billion, with a B. And here's the part nobody's reporting. Most of the people who are owed that money are never going to see a single dollar of it. Not because the law doesn't entitle them to it, but because of one obscure 6-month rule the SSA is using to quietly deny full payment to millions of retirees, widows, and surviving spouses. I'm talking about teachers, firefighters, police officers, postal workers, federal retirees, their widows, and anyone who was ever told by an SSA employee years ago that they wouldn't qualify for spousal or survivor benefits because of two laws called WEP and GPO. Those laws were repealed. That money is owed. And right now the SSA is sending out smaller checks than the law actually requires. 4 U.S. senators just sent a formal letter demanding the SSA fix this. The agency is digging in. And in the middle of all of it, real retirees, people in their 70s and 80s, are losing tens of thousands of dollars they earned and paid for over entire careers. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened. I'll explain who's owed money and how much. I'll show you the 6-month rule the SSA is hiding behind. And near the end of this video, I'll give you the exact form number, the exact filing process, and the step-by-step action plan to fight back and recover what's yours, even if you've already been denied. If you, your spouse, your parents, or anyone you know ever worked as a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, a federal employee, or any other government job that didn't pay into Social Security, stop scrolling. Watch this all the way through. Hit subscribe right now if you're over 60. This is exactly why this channel exists. All right, let's get into it. So let's start with how we got here. For over 40 years, two laws made it almost impossible for millions of public service workers to receive the full Social Security benefits they earned. The first law was called the Windfall Elimination Provision, WEP for short. The second was called the Government Pension Offset, GPO. Together, these two laws reduced or completely eliminated Social Security benefits for anyone who had also earned a pension from a job that didn't pay into Social Security. Teachers, police, firefighters, federal workers under the old civil service retirement system, their widows, their spouses. For decades, advocacy groups fought to repeal these laws. They argued the rules were unfair, that public servants had paid into Social Security through other jobs or through their spouses, and were being punished for serving their communities. After years of pressure, Congress finally acted. In January 2025, President Biden signed the Social Security Fairness Act into law. WEP and GPO, gone. Repealed. And here's the critical part. The repeal was made retroactive to January 2024, which meant millions of Americans were suddenly owed back pay for benefits they should have received but never did. The Social Security Administration began processing those payments in early 2025. As of early 2026, the SSA has paid out approximately $17 billion in retroactive benefits to roughly 3 million people. On paper, that's an enormous victory. In practice, there's a problem, a big one. Here's the problem. The SSA has split the affected retirees into two groups. Group 1, anyone who had formally applied for spousal or survivor benefits before the repeal, even if their benefits had been reduced to almost nothing because of GPO. These people got the full retroactive payment back to January 2024. The system worked for them. Group 2 is where it falls apart. Group 2 is anyone who never formally applied because they were told by an SSA employee, sometimes decades ago, that they wouldn't qualify, or that their benefit would be reduced to zero. So they didn't bother filing. Why would they? They were told it was pointless. When the Fairness Act passed, those people went to the SSA expecting their full retroactive payment back to January 2024. And the SSA said no. Instead, the agency invoked an old rule from the SSA handbook, a rule that says retroactive benefits are limited to 6 months from the date of application, not from the date the law took effect, from the date you applied. Let me give you a real example because the numbers here are going to make you angry. There's a retiree named Charles. He's 81 years old. He's a civil service retirement system retiree. His wife is 80 and has been collecting Social Security for years. Charles never applied for spousal benefits because the SSA told him decades ago that GPO would reduce his benefit to zero, so he didn't bother. After the Fairness Act passed, he immediately contacted the SSA in late January 2025. He had his phone interview on February 14, 2025. The SSA approved his claim. They paid him back 6 months, from July 2024 through January 2025. They denied him January through June 2024. 6 months of benefits. Gone. Even though the law specifically made the repeal retroactive to January 2024. And Charles is not alone. There are hundreds of thousands, possibly millions, of people in the exact same situation. People who didn't file because they were told not to. Now, when they finally apply, the SSA only goes back 6 months. The rest of the money they're owed under the law? The agency claims it cannot pay it because of an internal policy interpretation. The Senior Citizens League, NARF, and major retiree advocacy groups have been raising the alarm for months. And in early 2026, 4 sitting United States senators, Susan Collins of Maine, Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, John Cornyn of Texas, and John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, sent a formal letter to the SSA administrator. The letter demanded the agency reverse its interpretation and pay the full retroactive amount back to January 2024 for everyone affected. As of right now, the SSA has not changed course. So what does that mean for you? It means if you, your spouse, or someone in your family was affected by WEP or GPO before the repeal, you may be owed thousands, possibly tens of thousands of dollars more than the SSA has paid you, and you may have to actively fight to get it. Now let me walk you through exactly what to do. There are 3 categories of people watching this video right now, and the action steps are different for each. Category 1. You are affected by WEP or GPO, and you have already received some retroactive payment from the SSA. If your payment only went back 6 months from your application date, not back to January 2024, you have grounds to file a request for reconsideration. The form is called Form SSA 561. Write that number down. SSA 561. It's the official request for reconsideration form. You can download it from ssa.gov, fill it out, and submit it either in person at your local SSA office, by mail, or sometimes by fax. On the form, you specifically request that your retroactive benefits be paid back to January 2024 in accordance with the Social Security Fairness Act. Include any documentation you have showing that you were previously told by an SSA employee that you wouldn't qualify for benefits. Now, I want to be honest with you. Filing the SSA 561 right now is not a guaranteed win. The agency is currently denying these requests under the same 6-month interpretation. But here's why filing still matters. Number 1. If Congress or the courts force the SSA to change course, the people who already filed will be first in line for additional payments. Number 2. Filing creates a paper trail that protects your rights. Number 3. Collective pressure works. Every reconsideration request that gets filed adds to the political pressure on the SSA to fix this. Don't sit it out. Category 2. You were affected by WEP or GPO, and you have never applied for spousal, survivor, or retirement benefits. Stop everything and apply now, today, this week. The longer you wait, the more retroactive money you're permanently leaving on the table. Even under the SSA's current 6-month rule, every month you delay is one more month you can never recover. For widows and surviving spouses, the form is SSA 10. For spouses and divorced spouses, the form is SSA 2. You can find both at ssa.gov/forms. You'll likely need a marriage certificate, a death certificate if applicable, and a divorce decree if applicable. Get those documents in order before you file. And one more thing for this category. When you go to the SSA office or speak to a representative, write down the date, the time, the name of the employee, and exactly what they tell you. If they discourage you from filing or tell you you don't qualify, file anyway. That's how millions of people in Group 2 ended up locked out of full benefits in the first place. Don't take a verbal answer. Get the application on file. Category 3. You're a CSRS federal retiree, a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, or any other public service worker, and you're not sure whether WEP or GPO ever affected you. Pull your most recent Social Security statement from SSA.gov. Look at your benefit calculation. If you have a pension from a job that didn't pay into Social Security, and you also have at least some Social Security earnings on your record, you were almost certainly affected. Even if your benefit looked normal, GPO may have reduced spousal or survivor benefits for your wife or husband without you realizing it. The repeal applies to you. The retroactive payments may apply to you. Don't assume. Verify. Now let me address something I see in the comments every time we cover this topic. People asking, is this real or is this another scam? Listen, this is real. The Social Security Fairness Act is a federal law. The $17 billion payout is publicly documented in SSA's own statements. The Senate letter from Collins, Cassidy, Cornyn, and Fetterman is on the public record. Form SSA 561 is a real form, available free on the SSA website. Nobody is going to call you and ask for a fee to recover this money. Nobody legitimate anyway. If you receive a call, an email, or a text claiming to help you recover Social Security back pay for a fee, it's a scam. The only legitimate path is filing the forms yourself, directly with the SSA, at no cost. So let me pull this together. The Social Security Fairness Act repealed WEP and GPO and made the change retroactive to January 2024. The SSA has paid out roughly $17 billion in back pay so far, but is using a 6-month retroactivity rule to deny full payment to millions of people who were previously told not to file. 4 U.S. senators are demanding the SSA reverse this. The fight is ongoing. And the people who get their forms in early and document everything will be in the best position to recover what they're owed. Here's your 3-step action plan for this week. Step 1. Figure out which category you fall into. Already received partial back pay? File Form SSA 561 for reconsideration. Never applied? File Form SSA 2 or SSA 10 immediately, depending on your situation. Not sure? Pull your statement from ssa.gov and review it. Step 2. Gather your documents. Birth certificate, marriage certificate, divorce decree if applicable, death certificate if you're a survivor. Any old correspondence from the SSA telling you that you wouldn't qualify under WEP or GPO. Step 3. File. In writing, with a paper trail. Keep copies of everything. Note every conversation with every employee. Don't accept a verbal "you don't qualify." Look, I want to be straight with you. Most people watching this video are going to do nothing. They're going to nod along. They're going to think about it. And then life gets busy and they move on. Don't be that person. If you, your spouse, or a family member was ever a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, a postal worker, a federal employee, or married to one, pick up the phone today. Schedule the appointment. Pull the form. Start the paper trail. The SSA isn't going to call you to make this right. They've spent the last year quietly paying out less than they're legally required to. The only people who will see the full amount they're owed are the ones who fight for it. That's why this channel exists, to make sure you walk into the SSA office knowing exactly what you're entitled to, and exactly which form to file when they tell you no. If this video helped you understand what's happening, do me 3 quick favors. Hit the like button so YouTube pushes this to more people who need to see it. Subscribe so you never miss the next update on the Fairness Act fight. And share this with anyone you know who worked in public service or whose spouse did. Most of them have no idea this is happening. You may be the one who tells them. In the next video, I'm breaking down the exact step-by-step process for filling out Form SSA 561, the reconsideration form, line by line, with the specific language you should use to maximize your chances of success. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. I'll see you in the next one.